Morning, Rabbi said we're going to start off with a little bit of a quiz this morning to make sure the Olam are fully with it. Number one, when is it that a person distributes Mishlach Monos and Matonos Levyonim on different days? Question number two, when do we read Megillas Esther after a tefillah that we don't say Al Hanissim? Number three, how can we bench on Purim Suda without including Al Hanissim? What are the answers to all of these questions? Obviously, the answer to all of these questions is when Yud Daled Adar, the 14th of Adar, falls on Friday, and Tesvav, the 15th, falls on Shabbos Kodesh. When that occurs, which is a very unique situation, Yidden in Yerushalayim and other walled cities maybe, as well will have a different type of Purim than anywhere else around the world. So all that you have experienced in different years, and maybe the halachos that you remember from last year, might be different this year if you live in Yerushalayim. So we are specifically talking today about you guys who are in Yerushalayim, Iraq Kodesh, or if you find yourself in any other walled city around the world, possibly. So we're going to discuss many different halachos. I'm going to try to go through A to Z of all the halachos you need to know of what is the halacha of Purim Tezvav that we normally celebrate. You have to understand, on a normal year, Yerushalayim begins Purim when the rest of the world are winding down from their Purim. They're pretty much finishing, we're starting. When it comes to this year, there are many different halachas. Every time this happens, the shailas come in left, right, and center. So Rabbi said, listen carefully, because we're going to cover every shaila that I think is going to be asked when it comes to Purim Meshulash. To Mekayim your mitzvahs, Mahadrin, Mina Mahadrin. We know, the Megillas Esther tells us, Mordechai Esther told us, they were masakin, that a walled city at the time of Yeshua ben Nun should celebrate Purim on Tesvav, whereas other cities that are not walled, the rest of the world, celebrates Purim on Yud Daled, which is the regular situation on a regular year. One day is Purim for the rest of the world, and one day pretty much is for us. That's what they call Shushan Purim. And for us over here in Yerushalayim is regular Purim. So in a regular year, Gavaldik, on Monday is Purim for the rest of the world, and outside Yerushalayim on Tuesday is Purim for us in Yerushalayim. This year, it's very unique. This year is very unique simply because the Gemara in Megillah, Mishnah, in Megillah, the Beis and Aleph tells us very clearly that when Tes Vav Adar falls on Shabbos Kodesh, then the walled cities, the Hainu Yerushalayim, and anything that's considered to be Yerushalayim for these halachas, reads Megillah on Friday, the 14th, something very unique, and which is the same day as non-walled cities, which means pretty much this year, everyone is going to be reading the Megillah on the same day. Now you may ask the kasha, why? Why do we have to read Megillah on Friday? Why can't we just read it on Shabbos? We do Kriyas HaTorah anyway. So at the same time as Kriyas HaTorah, after Parashat Shal Shavua, take out the Megillah, read Megillah Esther. So the answer, of course, is the Gemara Megillah Daf Daled on the base, where the Gemara tells us that just like we don't blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, when Rosh Hashanah Chaliyos b'Shabbos, when Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbos, we don't blow the shofar. We also don't take Daled Minim, right? Lulav and Esrog, Hadassah and Aravos, which is a mitzvah d'oraisa, even on the first day, if it falls on Shabbos. Why? Explains the Gemara in many places, and specifically over here, Megillah Daf Daled, is we're worried, Chazal were worried, that a person will actually carry the Megillah, he'll forget, whatever it may be, and Mamela, that's the reason over there. Interestingly enough, as a shaila in the poskim, whether a Megillah on Purim, Shabbos, when it falls on Shabbos, is actually going to be muktzah. Is it muktzah or not? The Pri Chodesh wants to tainu it is, the Mishnah Berurah tainu is mekel, so if a person wants to learn the Megillah and open it up, then it's pashtus not going to be muktzah in that case. Over the Issa was only not to read it, but not to touch it. That was only the Mishnah Berurah. But Al Kaponim, why, and this is the kasha, why do we bring it earlier as opposed to later? Like for example, if Tisha B'Av or Shiva Asar falls on Shabbos, what do? We bring it earlier? No, we make it later. We just postpone it till Sunday. So why don't we postpone Megillas Esther until Sunday? If at the end of the day it falls on Shabbos we can't do it, say that. So we'll do it the next day. That's what we do, and every time something falls on Shabbos. So the answer over here pretty much, again, This all comes from the Megillah. I don't want to go through all the psukim, but the Megillah tells us it shall not be passed by, which means you cannot pass the 15th. And since the 15th is on Shabbos, we cannot postpone Megillas Esther reading on Sunday in that case, and that's why we read it on Friday. It's interesting enough that Mishnah Berurah brings, we all know that there's an inyan for a person, when they say the Shechayanu on Purim morning, and they say the Shechayanu on the Megillah, normally somebody announces, or if they don't, people know. Mishnah Berurah brings it to have kavanah for the other mitzvahs hayom. For example, we don't make a mitzvah Mishlach Manos, we don't make a bracha, we don't make a shachayanu on the mitzvah Mishlach Manos, and we don't make a shachayanu on the Purim Suda, even though it's a once a year mitzvah, it should have a shachayanu. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, on a regular year, it's all in the same day. But over here, when I hear the Megillah on Friday, what should I do? So there are those that say you should have a new whatever. Okay, let's not get into it. Simple pshat. On Friday, Purim, have kavanah when you hear Shechayanu for the mitzvahs hayom, even that are not on that day. Dainu, even on Sunday. Okay, so have that in mind over there. Baruch Hashem, you guys came today, so you're going to know what to do. Let's move on, Rabbi Isai. What about Al Hanissim? When do we do Al Hanissim? Do we do Al Hanissim on Friday, because we just did Megillah? Do it on Shabbos, because Shabbos is Purim? Or do we do it on Sunday, because we got Purim Suda? So when does Al Hanissim? You can't just add Al Hanissim stam, of course, right? So Chazal told us clearly that people that live in Yerushalayim read the Megillah on Friday. However, at the end of the day, you cannot, deny the fact that Purim is in Yerushalayim on Shabbos Kodesh. That is Purim. Purim is on Shabbos. Yes, it's called Purim Meshulash, or more grammatically correct, Purim HaMeshulash, but the Olam calls it Purim Meshulash, in which case it's split into 3 days. You have 3 separate days. So Memela, according to that, when would you read Al Hanissim? So at the end of the day, Purim is Shabbos. So if that's the case, we say Al Hanissim here in Yerushalayim on davening and benching on Shabbos Kodesh, not on Friday. By the way, the Kriyas HaTorah of Purim, very unique this year. The Kriyas HaTorah of Yova Amalek, which talks about when Amalek viciously attacked Klal Yisrael in the desert, is read on Shabbos in Yerushalayim and not on Friday. Okay, that's also put down in the Tshuvas of the Sfarim, which is a very interesting thing, which means there's no Kriyas HaTorah on Friday by Mikra Megillah, which is very unique. Normally you got Kriyas HaTorah followed by Megillah. This year you're not going to have Kriyas HaTorah, you're just going to have Megillah on Friday, and you're going to do V'yav Amalek on Shabbos Kodesh. Now, is there any substitute for the Megillah on Shabbos? Now, let me say Purim is Shabbos. I read the Megillah on Friday. Is there something that I need to do or can do on Shabbos that will help us? It's Megillah Esther. Come on. So it's interesting. The Rashi and the Ram, many of the Rishonim bring this down in the Gemara Megillah Daf Daled, that talk about this idea that Enoch Hanami, we don't read the Megillah on Shabbos because they were worried that you may come to forget. However, Chazal did institute a replacement for the Megillah to remind people that on Shabbos it is indeed Purim, which is why there's an inyan. The Gemara tells us, everyone passing this way, that if you Rashi and the Ran to learn Midrashim on Purim, Midrashim on the Megillah, Hilchos Purim, Shiurim discussing the Purim story is something that should be discussed, done, or read, or learned as a reminder for Purim, as I paskin the Rishonim, and as I paskin the poskim Halacha Lamaisa. So now the question is, okay, so I have Friday, I have Shabbos. What on earth has Sunday got to do with anything? No shaykhs be'etzem to Purim. So what's going on? So here we have a Mordecai of the Beis Yosef. The Beis Yosef in Tofresh Peches brings a Talmud Yerushalmi. Very interesting that we paskin according to many poskim like the Yerushalmi. The Beis Yosef brings a Yerushalmi that says, and he brings psukim for this, which we're not going into, that the Purim Suda cannot be on Shabbos Kodesh. The Purim Suda cannot be on Shabbos Kodesh. We rather postpone it until Sunday. It's not like the Megillah that can't go after Tesvav. Here it can. Right? In a Chanami, the Suda can't go after Tesvav. But the Megillah cannot go after Tesvav. But the Suda can. If that's the case, Megillah do early, Suda we postpone, which is the Maisa what we do in that case. Why did they do that? So there's a different poskim and they bring down different shittas. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld in Tshuvas wants to say that Erev Shabbos is difficult for a person to prepare a Suda, so they postponed it to Sunday rather than make it early on Friday. Whatever it may be, we postpone the Purim Suda till Sunday. That is what it is. By the way, I saw one shita, which Baruch Hashem in yeshiva was zocher to become the shita, even though I don't think anybody else is. I mean, the halacha, no one really brings the shita, is the Meshech Chochmah of the Megillas Esther, where the Meshech Chochmah of Megillas Esther brings down Matzah Shabbos. You should have the Suda Matzah Shabbos, Suda's Purim, should be Matzah Shabbos. You couldn't do it on Shabbos, okay. Or Matzah Shabbos, you can. So the Meshech Chochmah of Megillas Esther, time is that's the mitzvah, which is why Baruch Hashem in yeshiva, we're going to be having Melava Malka with the food, with flesh, so be out to that shita of the Meshech Chochmah of Megillas Esther. But Lamaisa, it's interesting that in the 16th century, the Rav of Yerushalayim, the Maharal Nach, wants to say like this. Unbelievable. Rav Levi ibn Chaviv. He brings the Maisa that when your Dalet falls, when Tezvav falls on Shabbos, the Purim Suda, including the drinking and everything, should be on Shabbos, not on Sunday. He even tainas that the Bavli paskins against the Yerushalmi, and whenever Machlokes is Bavli and Yerushalmi, we go with the Bavli, not the Yerushalmi, which means according to the Maharal Nach, Lemaisa, the Purim Suda actually belongs on Shabbos Kodesh. Now there are those poskim, like the Taz, that seem to go with the Maharal Nach. However, come out all the Gedolia poskim are on him, and they say we paskin like Yerushalmi, and therefore that's how the Mishnah Berurah paskins, the Magen Avram, the Chazon Ish, and others, that the Purim Suda in Yerushalayim is going to be on Sunday. That's with the drinking and everything together with that over there. By the way, there's a Meiri. The Meiri brings down, if you look this up in Megillah Daf Hayam and Aleph, the Meiri wants to say that in Yerushalayim you should eat the Purim Suda on Friday, the same day as the Megillah. So it looks like we have shitas that hold it Friday, Shabbos, Motzah Shabbos, so we paskin it Sunday. So the Ikka Purim Suda this year is going to be Sunday. There are those that say that on Shabbos you should add extra food just to remember. If Shlomo Zalman said no, that's not the minig. All right, whatever it is, you could do whatever you want in that case. Now, where does it come? We did Megillah Esther, we did Al Hanisim, we did Purim Suda, which of course Purim Suda includes the drinking, Chayiv Inish L'B'Sim Avada to get drunk, and then we have another two more mitzvahs, and that is of course maybe even three. We have Matonis Levyoinim and Mishloach Monos. When are we Makayim those mitzvahs? So this is clearly, if you look in the tshuva of the Maharal Nach, he brings down very clearly, according to everyone, there's no machlokes. When it comes to Matonis Levyoinim, it goes on Friday. Why? Again, many rayas to this, but Matonis Levyoinim is always connected to Megillah Esther, because the Aniyim look to that day as the day that they're going to get help, they're going to get support. Memela, the day that you read Megillah is the day that you have to distribute matonos le'evyonim in that case, which means that is what we do here in Yerushalayim. We make sure that we give, by the way, just to remind the Olam, I'm going to, as every year, the Olam knows, I collect matonos le'evyonim every year for two very, very big Talmidei Chachamim, Aniyim Mamish. So if you want to be Yotze Mitzvah, give it to me before Purim, and this way I will make sure that on Friday it gets distributed to two Yerushalayim residents to Mekayim your mitzvah. If you forget, by the way, or for whatever reason you didn't give it to me before then, there are shitas that hold you can give it on Sunday. Now, what about Mishloach Monos? What about giving the Shlach Monos? What is the din in that case? So it's interesting, in the Gemara doesn't really mention it, not in Bavli, not in Yerushalmi. So what do we do in this case? So it's a Beja Machlokes in the poskim. The Maharal Nach brings down that we quoted that since the Suda is on Shabbos, and according to most, the inyan of Shlach Monos is Tzorchi Suda, Mimela Shlach Monos and the Suda go together, which means Shlach Monos is going to be on Sunday. However, the Maharal Nach brings, and the Taz brings this down, he wants to taina at the end of the day, since he paskins, the Maharal Nach himself, not according to what we said the minig is, since he paskins, the Purim Suda should be on Shabbos, comes out, according to Maharal Nach, and the Taz brings it, that Mishloach Monos should also be on Shabbos. According to that Shita, you should give Shlach Monos on Shabbos Kodesh. Chazon Ish went crazy, and he said, excuse me, how will we masakin a mitzvah that could cause a person to carry? We're mavatal, not mavatal, but we change Megillas Esther because we're worried that a person can carry. So therefore, how can they institute doing Shlach Monos, which means to go running around delivering, which means you're carrying, which means there's no way they did that, and that's why absolutely it's not on Shabbos, which is reason why it's not on Shabbos Kodesh, and according to Chazon Ish and many Mishnah Psak Halacha L'Maisa, a person should give Shlach Manos on Sunday. There are those that give something small on Friday to be Yitzah. There are those that give something small on Shabbos. Of course, being careful not to carry if there's no Erev on Shabbos Kodesh. But Al Maisa, the minig Halacha L'Maisa is we give Shlach Manos on Sunday. That is very, very clear. When do we wear costumes? That's another mitzvah, very important. When do we get dressed up? So the poskim discuss this, and the poskim discuss this goes together with Megillas Esther. This goes together with the Purim Suda. And since Purim Suda is on Sunday, therefore we will be dressing up over there in that case. So let's just do a very quick sikum, and then we'll do one last shaila. Halacha l'maisa, we mentioned a lot of different machlokes and different mahalchim. Halacha l'maisa, here in Yerushalayim, Purim Meshulash, Yudalad on Friday, Tezvav on Shabbos, means we do Megillas Esther and Matones Levyonim on Friday. Shabbos we do Alanissim Vayova Amalek. Sunday we do Shlach Manos, dressing up, and Purim Suda with everything included in that. That is in a nutshell the Friday, Shabbos, Sunday schedule that a person should know. But by the way, one last shaila, and that by the way is a common one, even though it's not a gay, because it's in Shabbos, but still is an interesting shaila that the Olam asked me over Shabbos. What happens if a guy wants to leave Yerushalayim on Shabbos? He wants to go to Bnei Brak, he wants to go to Beit Shemesh for Shabbos. What's the problem? I'm here on Friday, I'll hear Megillah. I'll be back for Sunday for the Purim Suda. This way I won't miss anything. Normally, traveling on Purim is like a fair chazach. People are running all over the place. It could cause problems which day, whatever it may be. So I don't want to go into too many things right now, but the post can bring down that the mitzvahs of Purim and Shlach Manos on Sunday is only someone that was in Yerushalayim on the 15th. That means you have to be in Yerushalayim on Shabbos for you to go along and do the Suda and everything else on Sunday. So make sure that the traveling is not done. Tachna Nevada, we omit on both days. So remember, Rabbi, so we have a real vanahafachu over here, a real turning around situation. We say Alanissim on the day that we don't have a Purim Suda. We have Purim Suda on the day that there's no Alanissim. We read the Megillah that there's no Kriyas HaTorah because it's not really Purim. And we have Shlach Manos and Matonis Levyonim not on the same day. It's a complete turnaround. We should be Zocha to Mekayim the mitzvahs in the proper manner. Have a wonderful day.